Veronica in Clerks 3 it's not stated outright, but it's implied that she's like divorced and sharing custody, and she's like dealing with this whole other life. Kevin very famously writes the actual lives of the people in his movies partially into his films. Do you know one way or the other if your situation had something to do with what Veronica was going through?
Oh, you mean...
Just based on...
Yeah, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, you had been through that, like the divorce and starting your life over situation before, and in Clerks 3, Veronica is very much doing the same thing, just based on what she like tells Dante in the car. Do you know if Kevin like based that on real life?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. Yeah. That's funny. It's like, that I'm interested to know. I'm interested in that as well. But there have been times where we were having conversations, like 2 years ago. I think he did the 25-year anniversary of The Stash, and so he had a lot of us over there, and in his movie theater, which wasn't his movie theater at the time,
Mod Castle or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's Mod Castle now, but at the time, or the Atlantic Highlands, he didn't own the movie theater at the time. So he basically rented the movie theaters and had Q&As in each one. And on the second night, he only had 2 theaters that he had rented out. And so while Q&A sessions were going on there was one in holding. And so we had conversations. And that's when I kind of found out that one of the scenes was earmarked for deletion, even though I had filmed it, because he felt it didn't really lend anything to the story. Now, I'm assuming that's the car scene, but I don't know that for a fact. Okay. But, and then, even though we had that conversation there, then when we were at San Diego Comic-Con, the year that it was being released in 23, I don't know, 23.
One of those years.
Yeah, one of those years. That... I don't know. The way that he worded it just sounded a little bit different, and as if none of my scenes may have actually been shown. I don't even know. I don't even know. But yeah. So if anybody is watching that Hall H interview on YouTube and you see like this look on my face, I'm just like taking that all in and just like, holy shit. Did I almost not make it to the film?
Well, if I do ever interview Kevin, I'm following up with him about this since you don't even know. It's like, yo, you're not communicating with your actors. I got to pass the message along.
I got to say, though, he may feel like it doesn't move the story along, but I feel like it does. And for a lot of the fans, especially, I just feel like it. Because the one question that everybody asks, what do you think Veronica's been doing all this time? What's happened with Veronica? What was happening throughout this life and Clerks 2 and whatever that we don't see her? And I think that just, even if it's a small degree, it answers that for the fans.
I appreciated that scene so much because it had my favorite kind of writing in it, where especially if you like revisit a character that you haven't seen in a few years in like a sequel or like a later season of the series, but it like you can imply what's happening and you can fill in the blanks without this like giant exposition dump in front of it. And whether or not Kevin intended that scene to be in there, I thought that was handled beautifully. Yeah. Like it's one of my favorite parts of the movie. Plus, like, I've also been in a similar situation, avoiding spoilers, where you get in a heated argument with somebody and then you say something and then you realize that is the last person you should have said that particular thing to. And you like immediately lose the argument for that. Like that has happened to me before.
We all have word vomit,
Yeah.
that we wish we could take back. But yeah, I think it just really sets up the whole thing after that as well. And let's face it, it's like they're both going through their shit. So it just shows humanity.
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of shit given to Clerks 3 and I don't understand it. Like, I know it, like, the trailer very much did not, like, state the tone that the movie ultimately was, but I think that was on purpose. And I appreciated how it was basically, like, the movie was basically a drama with some dick jokes, like, thrown in. And especially people who, like, grew up with the series and are getting older and are questioning their mortality, like, it hits hard. Like, that final third of the movie, holy shit. I caught one of the, Fandango theatrical screenings, and my best friend Tom and I, like, caught it the final night. And it was, like, me and him and, like, 20 other people in the theater. By the end, we were all just, like, fucking ugly crying at the screen. I can't believe this.
Yeah, I mean, I got to see 2 edits before it hit theaters, and each time I was bawling my eyes out at the end, and still bawled my eyes out even after I was watching after it came out and things like that. And I was able to go to some of the tour shows, but especially, going to Red Bank for the first screenings over there. I felt the love, and feeling that love was just like, oh my God. Yeah. But, I don't understand the hate that some people have for the film. Because not everything can have your happy ending.
No.
And it's not to say that this had or did not have a happy ending, but it did kind of have a happy ending. It was kind of a mixture of the two a little bit,
Yeah.
So, and as much as there are people out there that say, I wanted to see Veronica and Dante back together again, like that. I'm like, thank you, I appreciate that. I feel like that had so much more of a story to give.
Yeah.
Than what happened, than what people would have wanted for us.
That's its own separate movie. Like, that could have filled a whole 90 minutes.
But it'd be interesting to see what it could be now if Kevin decides to write a sequel to that.
Yeah, he's a Marvel fan. There's multiverses all over that thing. We can make it work.
Well, I mean, it's not even so much a multiverse. I don't think we could do that. But you were able to see Rosario as a ghost, and I forgot what they called it. There was a certain word that they called it. A forced ghost? Is that the word that they used?
Probably. If it's a Star Wars reference, that's what it's called.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it'd be interesting anyway.